Okay, you'll get a little message on your screen that says it's okay to record. Oh man, okay. I'm gonna have slight video problems. My video is in a weird place, but hopefully you can see the screen and see me. Hello, everybody. Thanks for being here. It looks like Kat answered in the chat. Hi, Kat, you're in Virginia Beach. Joanne invited you. Okay, I see. Awesome. Yes, I can understand. Okay, Denise says, live in Colorado Springs. Yes, absolutely. We definitely need support to stay on course. In the chat room, let me know why you're here. And if I want you here because you personally need to make change in your health. So let's get started. My name is Jendayi Harris. I'm author of the Chubby Church books. We are talking about win the weight and eating war for more of God, more of our destiny, more health, more energy, so we can do God's will even further, okay, in our mission, as well as honor our temples, because we're given this particular vessel to honor God with it in all ways, including showing and manifesting our spiritual nature through the choices that we make and the foods that we eat as well. So our inner transformation is what produces that body revelation, right? It's our inner transformation. So way back, that's what I looked like. And this is even an older picture. I'll show you some new ones, but the transformation is pretty major on what God wants to do with us in our soul and our spirit man to help us manifest physically what needs to be manifested. So I said I'll go over with you quite a few things in today's seminar, and I'm going to share with you those answers that I put in there. And one question was why food has been such a struggle and you don't feel like eating the way you know you should. How many of us know we should be eating some fruits and vegetables, but we simply don't want to eat them? You don't want to eat them. You know what to do, right? We know what to do. We know we should be exercising and drinking water and working on our sleep. And you know what I mean? We know we should be eating that salad over there instead of this delicious mac and cheese, but we don't sometimes. We choose the wrong thing. And I want you to know it's not your fault. This is not something that is your fault. We are in a culture of disease. Okay. And this what happens is there's certain ingredients, which I'm going to share with you next, that are actually getting into the brain that cause you to reject God's food truth. Now, in every plan, every health plan, one thing is really clear, isn't it? Is that we need to eat fruits and vegetables. No matter what diet you're on, what health plan you're on, we must eat, we need to eat those. There's a food truth that does not end. And that is God's principles in Genesis 1:29 and 31, which is, I've called you to please eat all the fruit, the seed bearing and fruit plant bearing vegetation. Okay. And make it. And then he says, eat a lot of green vegetables. I've made for this for you food. Now, he said this because this is supposed to be majority of the way we eat, but we tend to miss that. Okay, we kind of miss that because of the culture we're in that's called the standard American diet or the Western diet. And notice the acronym is SAD, S-A-D, Standard American Diet. Now, when I was writing the Chubby Church book too, especially, one of the things that was really pronounced is how many deaths are happening, how much chronic disease, death to the pancreas is diabetes, death to the heart is heart disease, which is our #1 killer, death to the overall mood and attitude. We're having mental illness in 1 of 5 individuals. It's because of how we are eating, how we are consuming. And again, it's in the brain. It's not your fault. This is not a blame or shame game. This is certain foods that cause addictive ingredients. And all of that is a standard American diet, which is an eating disorder of itself. And the satanic addictive deception is another way to put it, because Satan wants you addicted to the wrong food. So you have poor health. So you don't reach your destiny. You have low energy. You're stuck on prescriptions and you're stuck and unhealthy, which is going to block you from doing more of the will of God in your life. Okay. So it's also Satan's agenda of death. And like I said, death to these organs, death to your spirit, death to your use of time. And when we're looking at these addictive food ingredients, there is no fruit. There's no fruit to it. There's no positive. There's no life. It's simply killing your body slowly with a knife and fork. We're digging that grave. So what is the standard American diet? It's basically consuming, again, that food truth. What God said to eat is about 12%, whereas everything else, processed food, is the satanic addictive deception. Once you eat processed food and a lot of added fats and sugars and oils and refined grains, there's a difference between refined and unrefined. And that's going to cause us to only crave those foods. Okay, and lots of animal food. And when Noah had the flood, God was like, oh man, go ahead and eat whatever you want to survive, right? It was okay at that point to eat some meat. But in reality, his ideal diet was not as much meat as we consume as Americans. Okay, not that much, because it's loaded with what? Sodium, cholesterol, and fat. So we're eating all of this stuff that is actually causing us to have an eating disorder. Okay, eat more than we need to. So thank you for being here, everybody, because I want you to have the keys to make your health transformation happen this year. So one of my questions for you right now is, can you visualize yourself eating better? Can you see yourself making better choices on a consistent basis? If we cannot see it and conceive it, okay, it's really hard to bring it about, to make it happen. God has given us each a gift of creative power and imagination. And so if we can't see ourselves in our healthiest, fittest, most energetic self, choosing well because we are well, because we want our health, because we see the power that he wants to make us prosperous in health, and we're going to own it. We're going to have the power to generate health and wealth, right? Health is your wealth. So when you can see it, you can bring it to pass. It says in Habakkuk 2:2, write the vision and make it plain. Write the vision and make it plain. Okay. And the power of that is because when you have a vision that's made plain, guess what you can do? It also says there that they may run swiftly to achieve it. So that means that there's a power in a vision. There's a power with speaking and seeing yourself making change. And it's a constant and consistent practice for your health manifestation to actually happen. When you can't see it, that means it has to be cultivated. It has to be imagined. It has to be breathed into and felt into, because until you can see it, it's not going to come to pass. Okay, we have to see it in our mind first. So can you see yourself looking better, making better choices, being the healthiest you? Okay, or are you stuck in the mindset that's limiting to say, oh, I'm unhealthy, I'll never change? Hopelessness is a product of food addiction. Okay, it's not, that's all it is. Hopelessness is a product of food addiction, meaning being so enslaved and so tormented by foods that we can't seem to make any change. That's what hopelessness is. That's what you're experiencing is food addiction. Can you see yourself feeling better? Okay, feeling better, feeling like you actually have energy. That's your divine birthright, folks, is to have energy to do things, to have energy to complete what you're called to complete. Energy is your birthright. Energy has been stolen from the satanic addictive diet and deception, the standard American diet. So Satan's agenda of death is always to steal, kill, and destroy. Never forget that. Okay, never forget that. That's the goal. And the more time he wastes, because time equals life, the more you'll get to the end of your life without the results you could have achieved in the kingdom. So which ingredients and foods are causing you to continually feel embarrassed about your food choices and eating behaviors? Which are those? What are those foods? All right, go ahead and pop it in the chat room. You're welcome to if you'd like. But these foods also cause you low energy, poor energy, and that is an issue. They cause you exhaustion. They deplete you. They are killing you. They are creating issues, high blood pressure. They're creating pre-diabetes and diabetes. They're creating these issues inside of your system, okay? And so these foods will kill you, and slowly, but they will kill your energy today. They are sugar, especially high fructose corn syrup. Okay, so sugar is one thing, right? From a 10-foot sugar cane plant that's been degraded down to one little module, dry morsel, little tiny thing. So this processed of sugar is addictive. It actually is proven to be addictive. It's proven to make you binge eat. It's proven to make you want the foods again. Now, if you're thinking again about big food giants, what is their goal? To make you healthier or to get to sell more, to make you eat more of their stuff so you buy more? Their goal is always profit, always profit. So if their goal is profit, they're trying to make things tasty. And ideally, the best kind of shoppers are the frequent shoppers that you can't stop buying, right? You can't stop buying the products simply because they're addictive. So there's sugar going on. So the high fructose corn syrup, which is in every soda, okay, a lot of your packaged products, processed food, especially baked goods, right? So things like that needs to be there's alternatives to these things that can help you. So number one is sugar is going to cause you to binge eat more, and it's going to cause you dysfunction in your life. Okay. Artificial sweeteners is the next one. And artificial sweeteners are absolutely addictive. And what's wrong with them is that they cause you to have a hypersensitivity to sweetness. And they cause a tremendous amount of problems in the brain and thinking. And when you look at the artificial sweeteners, the people who eat artificial sweeteners absolutely do not want vegetables or fruits. They think it's them. It's not you. It's your food addiction. Okay, the addiction to the ingredients that causes you not to want what your body actually naturally wants and thrives on. Your pancreas, your liver, your heart loves fruits and vegetables. It was wired that way by nature. So when you don't want what's naturally by nature, then we know there's something else that took over your physical brain and body. Okay, so artificial sweeteners. Your diet soda drinkers actually become more obese, okay, over time. Also, because they have a heightened, they're like 300 times more sweet than sugar. So then you still struggle with sugar, even though you have the artificial sweetener at times. Salt. So monosodium glutamate as well, which is in every fast food burger, fries, buns. Okay, so monosodium glutamate, and it's actually double doses in a lot of our common fast food places, Chick-fil-A, McDonald's, Burger King, Wendy's. Okay, Wendy's is probably a little tiny bit better, but all of them have salt, extra salt. Every meat product has a lot of salt in it, especially cured meats like bacon or sausage. Okay, you're looking at forms of salt called monosodium glutamate, which is a addictive ingredient. Okay, absolutely addictive ingredient as well. So when you're thinking about getting the salt down or the hypertension down, salt and sugar play a role in hypertension, and they actually cause you to want more. So people who consume salt, like if you're a starchy, crunchy type of person, which I completely get, crackers, all of that is going to cause you to want to eat more and binge eat. So there's studies done, and it's in my book, where people ate at least 11% or more of food because of the sodium in the food. So think about it this way. If you eat a bag of nuts, right? No, you won't overeat the nuts that aren't roasted or don't have salt. You will overeat the peanuts that have the salt on them. You may kill that whole can, right? So looking at salt, that extra salt does cause us to eat more because it's good, but we're supposed to be the salt of the earth, people, not consume it all. All right. It's just unhealthy for that excess salt that's in every packaged product and food, and every fast food meal has salt that you just don't need. Frankenwheat. This is flour products. So for example, again, the buns, the cookies, the cakes, the crackers, if that's your struggle, it's understandable because this is addictive. The wheat today is actually manufactured different than the wheat 100 years ago. The wheat today is addictive. It actually causes opioid levels in the brain. So your brain cannot help but want these types of foods, breads and snacks, baked goods, because of the flour is addictive. Now you won't eat flour by itself, but you can kill that fried chicken, right? So looking at that, looking at your diet and what you're consuming, I want you to see how many of these ingredients that you have, because these are problematic. And some of us don't have a problem with salt. You may have a problem with sugar. You don't have a problem with sugar. You may have a problem with salt. But either way, there's problem foods that need to be targeted and alternatives to gain. Dairy is another one. And oil, I didn't put oil in here. Refined oil is a huge killer of health. It's going to cause you to not only eat more, like when, again, fried chips, fried Doritos, right? It's going to cause you to eat more, but it also causes your free radicals and cellular issues in the body. So things like cancer, which is death to the cells, is happening because of the junk food addictions. Okay. Diabetes, I mention all the time. And also your obesity issues, right, are because of these starchy, fatty foods, and the fat that is at high temperatures is absolutely rancid in the physical body. It's causing destruction every single day, and we're not to destroy the temple. All right, chocolate is another. Who is a chocoholic besides my husband? He's on the line. Okay, so chocoholics. Now, here you go. Chocolate is actually a beneficial food. All right. So dark chocolate, very beneficial in so many ways. However, the problem is it's loaded with dairy, which I didn't mention here, I talk about much, but dairy is addictive and it's allergenic in the body. It causes mucus, it causes asthma, it causes all kinds of issues, along with wheat flour, causes asthma and causes issues in respiratory systems, as well as in the gut, and over 200 different conditions in the body. So dairy, which is in chocolate, right, as well as sugar, which is in chocolate, as well as fat, high oil, which is in chocolate to make it good and chocolatey, #1 top selling food among the world. Absolutely irresistible, raises wonderful chemicals and feel good chemicals in the body. The problem is, again, there's also some huge deficits and takeaways when we're eating and consuming and we're chocoholics. It's going to cause health problems. There's no doubt about it. It will manifest health issues if it's consumed on a regular basis. Okay. And even all the studies will tell you that as well, if you really look. Caffeine is an addictive substance. A lot of us drink coffee or different things like that. The problem is it actually makes you more tired. It makes you more, it makes it harder, especially if you're obese, to deal with caffeine, especially from coffee. Okay, caffeine's also in chocolate, but caffeine use disorder is very real and there's a lot of research that says it causes tumors and other things. And there's some research, especially with decaf coffee, that it helps your gut and helps you, your stomach acid and things of that nature. So it's just a matter of, are you struggling and do you feel like coffee is an issue? And therefore there's an issue, right? If you have a cup of coffee a day and it's monitored and you're sleeping okay and you're doing well in your other areas of health, no big deal. And I don't want you to focus on necessarily the problem foods. We were going to focus on the right foods and the alternatives in order to make change. All right. So that's how the program's outlined, because some of you are looking at this like, oh my gosh, what do I eat? I just want you to be aware that it's not you, it's the ingredients that cause addiction issues. Okay. Last one here is alcohol, and alcohol is a problem for a lot of people. Wine or liquor is going to cause you to have less sleep, which leads to obesity and more food. When you don't sleep well, you'll actually eat at least 300 to 500 more calories per day. So that is a huge threat. Alcohol itself has zero. World Health Organization and researchers say there is zero, I said zero, health benefits to alcohol. There are also zero health benefits to sugar and artificial sweeteners. Okay, you have some health benefit from salt, even though you don't need any added salt in your diet. And then you have some health benefits of wheat, and you have some health benefits of dairy, but the rest of them, and chocolate, but the rest of caffeine, alcohol and sugar and artificial sweeteners have zero health benefits for the body. So we have to ask ourselves, is it worth it, right? When you're consuming that, and am I struggling with any kind of prediabetes, cancer, any of those things, because that is going to support a problem. All of this boils down to something I call processed food addiction. And those are the things that come in packages. So even if you just transition to learning and looking at real foods, you're going to see some great benefits. I for a while just ate fruit instead of any sugar at all. And that was hugely transforming, because the fruit is going to have hydration, which is a cellular level. The best water you can ever drink is the one made by creation, which is in fruit. Okay. So that is going to be the best hydration for the body, which is going to solve a lot of issues just from switching over to real foods. All right. And I'm going to talk to you about a program at the end of this so that you can get the support that you need. Next, are you having fun here? Tell me in the chat room if you're learning a lot. What is your takeaways from that last piece here of all those things that can actually cause you to binge eat, cause you to overeat, cause you to have turmoil, cause you to have obesity, cause you to struggle with weight and eating? Go ahead and tell me in the chat room. Love to hear your chats. All right, now there's 3 tricks to get over sugar and junk food cravings so you can actually see some results. Now there's many more tricks that I share in my program, but one is to reject the beast. Who is the beast, everybody? It's that sin. You remember Cain was crouching at the door, Cain and Abel, and Cain and sin was crouching at the door, and God said, don't let it in, right? Don't let the sin in. Well, that's the whole nature of our physical brain. Our brain has a part of us that is all survival oriented. And for some reason, because of an addictive nature of the foods like cheese, for example, is going to have literally put opioids and feel good chemicals in your brain so deep that it will cause you again to keep going back to that cheese. All right. And when you have this type of food addiction happening, it's because your brain is trying to survive in its basic survival mode called the beast. And a lot of that is a good thing. It's a healthy thing to survive. The problem is when you know it's the beast, it only leads to dysfunction. It only leads to you feeling more lethargic, low energy, dysfunctional in your thinking and your activities. And that is going to produce, problems, right, in the kingdom of God and in your relationship, sometimes even with God. So we want to think about what is my decision choice costing me? And even though it sounds like your voice, the beast is going to say, go get some cheese, right? It's going to say, go get some cheese. And the beast is telling you, but guess who is actually in control? You are. The beast can't drive your car and get the keys and go down the street and get some cheese. It can't do that, but it can make suggestions, but we have to learn how to reject those suggestions and go for our highest good, okay, which is avoiding the cheese aisle. Now, if you have if there's a lot to this, how to really disarm the addictive voice in our brains, but as we keep doing it and the ingredients aren't in our system, it's super easy. There's not as much warfare around making those choices, simply because the ingredients in our bodies will cause us to keep craving them. Once the ingredients are out of our bodies, we don't crave those things that are causing destruction. So we call that rejecting the beast, the voice of addiction. 2 is quick green smoothie. This is super fast, but green vegetables have thylakoids in them. Thylakoids actually help you they're like a nourishment that helps your body to get rebalanced quickly. Remember, obesity is a sign of malnourishment. So is every disease, okay? It's all a sign of malnourishment. And so when you're eating green vegetables, again, kale, a bunch of kale, put it in a smoothie with a couple of bananas. It doesn't have to be difficult. A pack of frozen fruit, put it into the blender with a big bunch of some type of green vegetable. It works like a medicine to the body to restore mineral balance and health. Because when you look at the ingredients inside of those greens, the list is long. It's a very long laundry list of the makeup and the needs of the human body. Unfortunately, the processed foods are only taking away. They are stealers, they are tasty takers, but they're not doing any benefit for you. So the quick green smoothie is how you get rid of cravings really fast. And if you have a practice of nourishing, of nutrient loading in the body, if you have a practice of getting nutrition in, right? Because again, obesity is a sign of malnourishment. Cravings are a sign of malnourishment. And your body's really craving true nourishment. Give me real stuff. Give me stuff that I can actually build with instead of creating congestion within the physical body. So to build, you need that quick green smoothie. Just blend it up. It doesn't have to be difficult. 2 bananas, a bunch of kale, you're done. Drink that like a medicine. Okay, at least once a day, and the cravings start to dissipate. And immediately, if you do it right away, the cravings are gone. Okay, so rejecting the beast, rebuking the devil, the sugar demon, and then getting a quick green smoothie. Another thing you can do to really rid yourself of sugar and junk food is the Candidus probiotics, okay? I spelled it wrong, but there you go. So Candidus is a type of bacteria in the gut. And what's great, it's great when it's balanced, but however, sugar and fat, too much extra fat. Again, lots of chips, lots of processed foods, lots of pizza, lots of cheese, anything dairy, right? It's going to cause that to grow. The fat in the fat feeds it, the sugar feeds candidus, it's good bacteria, but what happens is it overgrows, okay? And so that overgrowth causes even more cravings because your gut bacteria is out of order. So to get it back in order, you may need some probiotic supplements, and taking those again consistently will help you if you have struggles eating every couple hours, like you feel like you can't stop eating or you can't stop craving the wrong things. One, you keep feeding candidus, and two, there's not enough healthy bacteria and probiotics inside the gut to balance it out. All right. Is that you? Let me know in the chat, because these little tricks are pretty major. And when you really hear and hone that addictive voice, you can say, you know what? No, I want my highest good. And I make my best choice, okay, through rejecting the voice. Or you make sure you have a daily practice of getting nutrition into your system. Even if you don't worry about any of the addictive foods, but you're just focused on your nutrition and getting that in, you're going to start to dissipate cravings and feel more energy to do better. And then candidus supplements to help you get that bacteria back in order is going to help you. Now, there's lots more tricks and tips I share in my program that I'll share with you at the end, but I want you to know you can defeat this addictive voice. Now, a whole person approach, I mentioned in the ad that I'm going to share with you how a whole person approach produces more lasting fruit than the world's way of dieting behaviors. Now, the world's way, and this is why I don't put myself out there in a bikini, okay? Because that's the world's way. They're just looking for the one-dimensional, let's look hot type thing. Holy Spirit wants you to look, feel your best, because God is all about beauty. He's all about beauty. And as one chubby church member said, I just enhanced it. Okay, I added to it, right? With the excess food and the fat that she was going on there. Now, here's the thing. God has made us divinely beautiful. We are super beautiful creatures. And there's a whole person approach. The world's way, again, is one-dimensional. It's simply looking at how you eat, and it looks at how you look. It does not take into account your soul. It doesn't take into account the fact that weight sometimes is a manifestation of the sin in your life, of the sin that has happened to you, of the grief, of the pain that you have carried, of the trauma that you have endured. Weight is more than that for a lot of people. And lots of research, verbal and emotional abuse can lead to obesity. Okay, sexual abuse can lead to self-protection. So there is a soul part of this that matters. There is a spirit part of this that matters, because at the end of the day, am I obedient to God's will? At the end of the day, am I treating my temple like the sacred holy thing that it is to carry the vessel of the Holy Spirit? Okay. At the end of the day, am I right with God in how I'm treating my body, or am I full of gluttony because of these addictive foods, right? So we have to ask ourselves and answer to a higher will, a higher call. Health isn't just about looking good, folks. It's also about feeling great and honoring the divine beauty that you are. Your beauty is a gift to the world. How you look and feel is a gift to other people. Okay, it gives them hope. It gives them inspiration. It's just fun to look at. All right. So just like, God's like, oh, wow, look at the lilies. They're beautiful, right? Yes, they're absolutely beautiful. And so are you.
Somebody called you again?
So we know that there's more to the story than a one-dimensional approach, because a one-dimensional approach hasn't worked and won't work. So when I say this, body, soul, spirit, your body has, is just simply a vessel, right? And that's really it. It carries you, whether you're spiritual,
like you said, Judy, it's
will be ruled by the Holy Spirit in their physical body. They will be ruled by the Holy Spirit, meaning even our choices will be surrendered and allow God to heal us from the inside out. And then your soul needs to be healed. There's wholeness needed in the soul. And to own your will, your emotions, emotional self, right? As well as your mentalities there. So
the natural, that's
the soul, the mind, will, and emotion.
The spiritual is the enemy, right?
Huge part. And remember, your soul is priceless. And that's why Jesus Christ died, in order to save it and to have it on his team. Your soul is worth the precious blood of Jesus Christ. It has worth and it has value.
I don't know what else
we can walk into that, because when we treat ourselves like garbage and we're eating stuff like garbage, that's actually telling us the worth we have in our soul. And God's blood is priceless. You have worth and value, but we got to start living like we have worth and value. We have to eat like we love ourselves. We have to eat like we have a destiny to accomplish. What you feed your vessel, your physical body, your soul, it matters to walking out your path. It matters to getting this focus off of the weight and onto your calling. Okay. So there you go. So let me just give you some pictures. Look at this picture of me. Look at this picture of me. And you can see the struggle. You can see the weight, the soul weight of the upbringing. Okay, this is in my early 20s. You could see it as well here, that there is pain, there was disorder, there was grief, there was hurt. Okay, and then a more recent picture. You could see the beauty, the holiness, the hotness, the Holy Spirit, right? Just working there in the freedom of that third image. I say to my husband, he always takes the best photos of me. But this path of health took me forever. It was a lot of struggle to come out of food addiction. And you're still going to have battles with it. And occasionally because it gets into your system, or simply because the way, again, the culture is so ingrained in this satanic addictive way of death, that it's hard to, be the only one sometimes, right? It's hard to make the right choices. So that's what I want to teach and instill to you, so you don't have to take all this time to get to where you need to go. All right, so there you go. So isn't that powerful, just looking at the images, especially in the eyes, in the face, in the joy, okay, as well as the physical body. So it's that inner transformation that's going to produce the body revelation. And when you target it in a whole person approach, it's that much more beneficial for all of us and the people around you, because you're living in truth and destiny and seeing the aesthetic beauty. And some of us sometimes have to welcome our beauty, have to be okay with our beauty, have to be okay with being seen and not hiding. Okay, being okay with your sexuality, which is a huge, wonderful part of spirituality and God. But the world has perverted it, just like it's perverted our diet. So the number one surprising predictor of excess weight, you may be surprised. Let me hear your guesses. In the chat, I'd like you to guess, what do you think is the number one predictor of excess weight? Go ahead and tell me in the chat. I want to hear from all of you. Gotcha, Denise. I'll have to look at that. All right. What do you think is the number one predictor of, are you having trouble hearing me? You can hear me, right?
We can hear you now. We just couldn't hear you when someone was talking over you.
Okay, and I didn't hear the person talking over me. Darn it, I may have to do this all over again. Okay.
Well, just mute all of our mics.
Yeah, I know, right? Just mute them all. I didn't hear that though, like people's mics were going. So my apologies. Okay. All right, any other guesses? Okay, we have stress, we have processed foods. Good job, Kat. You've been paying attention. Lack of sleep, good job. Okay. Anybody else? Not eating the right times. Good one, Craig. Hi, Craig. That's a really good one, right? Eating too late, right? That causes a lot of heart disease and issues, eating too late. Frankie May, childhood abuse. Yes, that trauma piece, right? That's big too. All right. Well, the number one reason, again, for excess weight is food addiction. All right. That's always the bottom line to go to. But a surprising predictor of how we eat is how you think and feel about your body. It's going to determine how you eat and your food choices. Studies and research has shown this truth. So we must overcome negative body image above all else. And whether our bodies, whatever they look like, we have to embrace our physical body and learn how to love it. And I'll teach you that within my programs. Okay. So are you surprised by that your body image and how you think and talk about your body, and the fact that you're, there's studies, again, there's lots of studies and research that shows this, that if you think about the weight, you're actually going to create that. And if you're worried about it all the time, or obsessed about it, or critical about your body, that's what it produces. Okay. Any questions there? Okay, can you hear me? Just making sure I'm not frozen or something.
Yes.
Okay, thank you. All right, but yeah, isn't that something? That body image is actually one of the best predictors for how you're going to eat and feel. And when you're negative on your body, you will negatively eat as well. All right. I love sharing that with people because it's a big factor that's missing again in a lot of the world's programs and systems is they don't take body image into account at all. And it's the number one. If we can actually start to love our bodies, we become more apt to treat it better, right? We don't treat it. I mean, think about if you and your body were physical people and you were in relationship with your body, would it feel beat up and criticized and brutalized? You know, would it feel excited to be around you, or would it be like, gosh, it's always negative? All right. So think about your relationship with your body, because you want to build a bestie relationship, a real comforting, accepting, loving place. And by nature, that will produce better choices. So how diet affects 90% of health outcomes and why an exercise focus will keep you stuck. Here's another issue and a myth is that, oh yeah, I just need to exercise. How many of you do that? You may just spend a lot of focus exercising. And the truth of the matter is you'll get to your better body when you kind of let exercise go, especially if you're exercising without enough results. All right, if you're exercising without results. I exercise for non-weight reasons, okay, because, and it's a good weight maintainer, but let me go through why it's an issue. Is because exercise raises cortisol. Cortisol is a stress hormone, especially hard cardio and things like that. It actually takes energy. So depending on the type of exercise, especially, it's going to raise the stress hormone in your physical body. Now, when you raise cortisol, by nature, insulin also raises. Insulin is the hormones that make us retain or lose weight. Okay. And sometimes, like diabetics will get skinnier and skinnier sometimes, and some of them, again, type 2 may get chubbier and chubbier. It just depends. But there's usually an issue there with weight with diabetics, right? By nature, again, of what they're eating, and also because of that insulin factor. So insulin makes us hungrier, as well as demand from energy, right? It demands more energy when it's raised. So if we don't have a clear idea of where we're going to eat or what we're going to eat, okay, especially when we're exercising, exercise will cause us to eat the wrong stuff and make efforts null and void. So it's really important to have a plan or a game plan of what you're going to eat when you're exercising for it to show results and be effective. Exercise is a weight maintainer, but it's not for weight loss. Now, in The Biggest Loser, they worked out, guess how long? 7 hours a day. That's unsustainable. Okay. Most people don't have 2 to 7 hours to dedicate. So, and I love a long run. I love running so much. It's a part of my mental and emotional health. And that's what you want to use exercise for, as a mood enhancer, to help you become more productive, to help you feel great in your body. It helps raise body image. But exercise is awesome, but mastering food is essential to mastering your energy, your health, and your weight. So it's really mastering food. And we don't spend enough attention and giving that energy that goes to exercising. Sometimes we need to give it to getting our food, right? Getting our food prepared, getting our food supply. We need to spend that energy figuring out what we're going to eat, finding recipes. We need to spend that energy cleaning the house or doing something else. Okay. So there's different ways that we can use energy, and to make the exercise most productive, we need to master some of the basic, what I call slim and sexy skills of meal prep and getting prepared. So great health, and here's another benefit, is when we master the food part, great health makes you want to exercise because of energy. As I exercise, and I like to exercise on a consistent basis, and been doing that for many years. Okay, had to learn that, get there, do that. But what happens is your energy starts increasing, and you have the energy also sometimes to do other things and to stay more consistent. So great health, because of how you're eating, is going to make you want to go out and take a walk. It's going to make you want to do more things that are energetic. When you have poor health, you're going to get really exhausted and tired, and you don't have the energy it takes to even move, right? You're just sitting a lot. And that's an effect of the cortisol and insulin alone when you're not exercising. All right. Any questions there, thoughts there? Isn't that something? Because in our minds, the world has trained us that we have to exercise to lose weight. And it's not true, because if you're doing it, you're not seeing much of a benefit. okay? Because of the other factors that we haven't mastered, which is our food part and our emotional part and our thinking part, okay? All right, now to get into some of the programs, let me just check time. Okay, great, we're great on time. I want to share with you about my books and programs. Now, how many of you have the Chubby Church or reading the Chubby Church? One or two. And it's really one of my pastors like, let's call it the Unchubby Church. I'm like, okay, great. I probably should have called it that, but now it's too late. And that took a lot of prayer. And the market actually named it. The market said, hey, let's call it the Chubby Church. Okay. Because they laughed and chuckled. Some people take offense, but there you go. My point is that these books are really deep. They go through the whole process to really conquer the master and conquer the mountain of poor health and weight and eating issues because of ridiculously deep struggle I had with this. And I had no idea God was going to use it to bear fruit, you know, for other people. I had no idea. I was just struggling all alone, dealing with health issues, dealing with the weight issues, dealing with eating disorders, right? But the eating disorders were a product of the standard American diet. They're not who I am, okay? And they were a product of some of the emotional turmoil and grief I was dealing with and unable without skills to cope, okay? To learn how to cope well. So it was just ingrained to just go to food, right? So here you go, and the wrong types of food, I should say. So I want you to definitely work these programs, but I wanted to provide a program that made you not really have to read it, but just to start applying it. Okay, so because the application is so critical. So the program I created for you is called Win the Weight and Eating War for More. And it's a group coaching, and it's based off of mainly book 2, but it's an 8-week coaching program. Let me show you how it works so you can decide if you'd like to join or not. So twice a week, live coaching calls. Now, these are Monday and Thursdays from 5 to 6, where you get on the call with me, you ask your questions, I motivate you, inspire you, and you get accountability, but it's mainly for simply asking your questions and sharing your wins and results. So applying the information, how you're applying it, how you're doing, and getting the support that you need. Support is a hugely missing link. And this is why Weight Watchers is pretty successful. Only the problem is it's still based around the standard American diet and not health. Okay. And people go on and off because it's a diet, right? There's not a true lifestyle transformation for most people, but it's successful because of the group support. And a lot of these group support programs are effective because we do need support. So it includes that for you. So you just bring your struggles, your questions, your wins, and insights to group coaching sessions. And then it also includes weekly live training calls. So each of the battles, so Saturdays, it'll be recorded if you have to miss, no problem, but you'll have a cover one of the 7 battles. So each week we're going to cover that battle from a teaching point perspective and give you some ammunition to win and know what to do to win practically and how to work those strategies to overcome, okay, and answer your questions. So the weekly live training calls are really powerful calls of the book's content, but delivered in a way in a teaching format. And then you'll have weekly on demand of the spirit-led slim and sexy skills. Again, we're supposed to be healthy, holy, and hot because that is the kingdom will for you to really draw out the beauty that's in you. It attracts, beauty attracts people to yourself. So it's a good thing. And we have to embrace our beauty, especially if we get through the trauma, okay, and our beauty being okay. But my point is, because some people have a word with the word sexy, but it's really important. So each week you'll get access to these training skills. And these are skills such as emotional clearing. This is a skill and a practice for you to get good at. Meal prep and how to do that, right? Or meal plan, how to do that effectively, how to really get there so you can start practicing the skills that are necessary for a healthy life. Here's the problem. The healthy skills don't change. They do not change. If you want a healthy life, you're going to have to learn the skills at one point or another, and they need to be sustainable. I wish they could change. They don't. They are evergreen and they do not change. So the key is, how do I learn how to embrace what I need to do for my best health in a group setting with the key skills? And there's many skills. For example, rejecting the beast is a skill that you can learn and apply. Okay, so there's lots of other skills, but you want these skill calls because when you learn how to get your food prep and supply clear, right? Make sure you're taking care of having the food you need on hand and knowing how to prepare that food. Now it's easier to meal plan, right? So getting the skill down of meal planning, getting the skill down of emotional clearing to deal with the emotional stuff that comes up, and having those emotional fitness workouts. These are necessary skills for life to keep you healthy that you'll learn. And then finally, a couple more things, the peer support and accountability. We need a buddy to really get our best health. I have an accountability partner, and I've had the same one for two or so years. That is hugely beneficial. And we have a Google Doc, and we look at our goals and we set them each week. And I love having somebody I can talk to about all these issues around food, around weight, around what I'm going through in life, and just having that partner, because a lot of times we're eating over the things that we really need to talk to somebody about in a trusted setting. So the peer support and accountability, you're going to have your own small group to partner and connect with to support your goals and your progress. Okay, isn't that great? Just having some support. And in my last Chubby Church class, they did such a great job simply because they had other people to work with. And that is a missing key ingredient, is other people and support. All right, so on-demand access to audio-visual chapters. Now, how many of you would prefer me to read to you instead of you have to read it all? Because you're busy. You need to be doing other things sometimes. And the audiobook is great. I haven't recorded audiobook 2 yet, but this is actually me reading to you. So you'll see the words, but you'll also hear me reading to you the chapter. So you'll have access to all of the book on audio visual as well. So it's a lot easier for you to get them information. And notice how this is a saturation process of the right skills. So for 2 months, we work diligently, and it's going to set you up for a lifetime of better results. After the program, you'll be able to partake in other programs or just coaching as we move forward. But as far as this is the program bill, let me recap what you get. Again, twice a week coaching calls. And if you miss one, that's okay. But twice a week, so you can get the support you need and a tip each week. You get live training calls. This is a huge sacrifice for me time-wise, but I want to make it an on-demand program eventually. So you'll have that training calls there. You'll have the weekly skills. So these are on demand. You'll just get them uploaded every week to the portal. And then that way you can watch them, and we practice them, and we post our wins on how we're using the skills every single day in the portal. And then peer support and accountability. So you have your own small group and partner to connect with each week or however frequent you want to meet to support your goals and progress. And then you'll have on-demand access to the visual chapters. All right, so they'll be available as they get recorded in the portal as well. So with all of this, you can win, there you go, in the summary of what's provided. And then you also have in full payment. So you can make an in full payment for $497 for the whole program, for the whole 2 months. That's what it covers, or 2 payments or 3 payments. So we start with orientation and connection. We'll do a coaching call this Wednesday, and we really truly kick off next Monday. All right, the 24th of January. We'll also have some training this Saturday. But again, if you're just joining the program late, that's okay too. So I want you to think about if this is something you'd like to do. If it is, I will send you the link and information to get started. And you can just email me. Yeah, great. I'm so happy that you're considering, and here's my email. So if you're interested, I'd love you to go ahead and email me at jharris@nextleveltherapyllc.com. Okay, or whatever email that you got this from. And let me put that on the screen as well, so that you can come and in contact with me there. All right, so there you go. So you can go ahead and let me know if you're interested at jharris@nextleveltherapyllc.com. All right, any questions I can answer for you before we wrap up? Is there anything I can answer for you before we wrap up? Was this a good use of time today? Did you feel like you got some value out of it? Let me know in the chat, or you can unmute your phone.